Okay, in this video, we are going to do Color Theory 1. And what we're going to learn in this video is tint, tone, and shade. And the first thing that we have to do is begin our design. And I'm going to draw out this design for you so you have an idea of what we're going to be doing. Now, the first thing you want to do is you're going to take your square that I'm going to hand out to you. And you're going to need either a ruler or straight edge. Doesn't matter. If you can use a straight edge of a large book, that's totally fine too. But we're going to make a big X through the entire square that you do have. So we have to go from here all the way up. Let's see here. I have to move my ruler over a little bit here. Okay. And I'm just going to make a big X, okay? So we're just making a big X. Like I said, if you have a big book, you can use that too, just corner to corner, because this is a square that's 9.5 by 9.5. Now, if you do this in any other way, you can do 9.5, you can do 10, 12, but make sure it's even on all sides because it has to be a square to be able to do this design. Okay, we've done an X. Now what we're going to do inside the X is we're going to create, this might be light enough, so I hope you can see that. We're going to create a diamond inside of that X. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. In order to create a diamond in that X, we need to come in on the upper right-hand corner, and I have to make sure that I'm holding this in here so you can see this. And I'm going to go down, starting at the corner, and I'm going to measure out 3.5 inches, okay, from that corner. So 3.5 would be about here. I'm going to make a dot. Okay, there's a dot. Then I'm going to come down the exact opposite from this upper right-hand corner to the lower, upper left-hand corner to the lower right-hand corner. And I'm going to start on my half in the corner here and go to my 0 here. So it's 3.5 inches from here to here, 3.5 inches from here to here. That's what you're going to do. So let me review. We've got an X through the square. This is a pre-cut square. And we drew our X. And then from the upper left-hand corner, we went 3.5 inches on a 9.5 inch square. And then we came in another 3.5 inches on this side. And the reason why we have a dot here and a dot here is we're going to create a diamond shape. So we're going to take the dots that we just placed on those lines and we're going to go to the corner of the paper here. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that dot, lead it to the corner, and draw a line going right to the corner. Okay? And I'm going to do the same thing for this. I'm going to go down the same corner. I'm going to take this dot and I'm going to go down to the same corner. We got half of our diamond. Look, we got half of our diamond done. Now we're going to take this dot and we're going to go to this corner. And this one to this corner. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take this and go here and create a line there. I'm going to take this dot, go to this corner, and create a line there. Okay? All right. So that's what you're going to have. Kind of looks like a kite. It has like 2 lines going through this kite-shaped diamond. Okay? Now, you're going to erase some things. And here's the 2 lines that you're going to erase. You're going to erase the line that's coming this direction. So let's just erase this line going through the center of that diamond. It's the one that's cutting through here. So let's go ahead and erase that line, okay? And we're going to erase that line. That's why it's important you do this in pencil. And make sure that you got it well erased, okay? All right, we don't want it showing through the paint or anything. Hopefully the paint will cover whatever marks are left. Oh, didn't mean to bump this. Okay, so you have, this line is still there, so make sure you still have that line there, okay? And we have a diamond with this cut in here. So let me show you what it looks like if I were to outline it in black or in blue. We'll do blue. Okay, we'll do blue this time. I'm always doing black. So let me outline it for you because this is what it should look like. Okay, and you cannot freehand draw this. It needs to be exact. So I'm freehand tracing. I'm not freehand drawing, I'm freehand tracing, which is kind of a little wobbly here. But yes, you have to measure this out. Cannot just put a diamond on your paper. So let's not be lazy about that. Okay. So I'm dividing up this paper, but I don't have to draw this line all the way through. Remember, we erased this line. So we just have a line continuing down here. And we have a line continuing, let's see here. We have a line, I'm using my left hand, line continuing up here. Okay, so that's the design that you're going to have. All right. And in this design, this is what you're going to do. You're going to have tint, tone, and shade. All right. So in here, you're going to have, and I'm going to show you this. I'm going to write this out for you so that you can see it. We're going to put tint, that's how you spell it, T-I-N-T, tint here. And we're going to put its opposite, which is shade. Now, what is a tint? A tint is a color plus white. A shade is a color plus black. But what is tone? Well, tone is a color plus gray. So we're going to put up here, tone, okay? That's a color plus gray. Any one of the colors that you decide to choose, you can choose any one color. And all you need is one color for this project. And you're going to be adding white to that color, you're going to be adding black to that color, and you're going to be adding gray to that color. Now, we have tone there, and we're going to do the opposite. We're going to put tone down here. Okay, so we want these two far apart from each other, so it brings it contrast. All right? So, what we're going to do here is I'm going to put shade here. Okay, opposite here. And I'm going to put tint here. And it's opposite of here. Now, do you need to write these down? Only if it helps you. Okay? Only if it helps you, and do it very lightly. Do it in pencil, that it can be erased. You don't want to do it in marker like I've done here. I've done this in marker so that you can see it on the camera. But we're doing tint, tone, and shade. Now it's time to color it. My main color is going to be purple for this. And you can choose red, blue, green, any color you want. But I'm going to choose purple. I'm going to show you a little bit of my color palette here. This is the actual purple right in the center that I chose. And I don't know if you can see that. I don't know, the light's very good. But anyways, I have my main color in the center, okay? I have black up here. I have white over here. I know you can't see it very well, okay? And then over here, I've added white to purple. And I've added black to purple. But up here, I made a gray. By mixing black and white, you make a gray. And put the gray to the side. Then you take your color, your inside color, and add that to your gray. And that makes a tone. Okay? Your color plus whatever. And it's up to you. Some tones will be darker than others. Some will be lighter depending on what color you choose. So I'm trying to do this on here, okay? Looks more gray than purple, but it's kind of like how we get different color mixtures for a lot of things. Some of you may not see this. You might have to add a little bit more vibrancy of color. But it should not look like your original color. Should not look like a dark, should not be nearly as dark as your shade. And it should be lighter than your tint, which is plus white. Okay, so now that I'm done doing this, I've got, actually I got 4 colors, but we're just doing tint, tone, and shade. You can also add your original color, which is hue. That's another name for color, okay? And you can do that, not a problem at all. In fact, that's perfectly fine. But right now, the assignment is to do tint, tone, and shade. And so one of the things with tint, tone, and shade I'm going to do here, I'm going to try to clean my brush out. I think it's got a little bit of residue from another color. Okay, so since this is a tint of purple would be like lavender. You know, you're going to paint this. You can cover that up. And we're going to paint this whole thing in the tint of purple. That is, and I'm going to repeat it again, that is the color purple plus white. Like I said, it looks like a light purple. Basically what it is, it's a light purple. Okay? And since I filled my brush with the tint of this, okay, I'm going to keep that tint on there before you go to the next shape that you have to paint in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look, do I have any other tints that I need to color in? Yeah, right down here. It's marked tint. So I'm going to color this one in tint as well. Instead of changing the color in your brush every time, paint all the ones in that you need to paint that are necessary. Okay? Now, you don't have to paint this fast. I'm used to painting fast, but you don't have to paint fast. You can color it in. Make sure there's no white. I can't stand white when you're in between. So make sure you go right up to that shape's edge. I'd rather have you go over, let it dry, and color over it than to have these little white spots all over. Okay? So those are both our tints. Well, let's go to our tone. Our tone is the next one. All right? And our tone is our color plus gray. Now we mix gray. Here's tone up here. We mixed gray and added purple to it. And gray is white and black. Now, when you're doing tone, to add black to white, you put a tiny pinpoint of black on the white. That will be plenty. Okay? That will be plenty. And as you see, you know, the tone can be a very beautiful color. When somebody says that something's a little toned down, that means the color's not as bright. It's a little dull, but it still has its beauty of the color. So when somebody says tone it down, that means to not make it so vibrant, okay, from that color. Now that was tone. Is there anywhere else on here that says tone? Of course, right here, right? So I'm going to continue painting in tone. And I'm going to do this because this one also has tone in it. All right. You should not have two of the same together side by side. Should not be. They should be opposites. And I'll give you a little color map thing so you can be reminded which ones you paint tint, which ones you paint tone, and which ones you paint shade. So anyways, there we are. So we have our tint, tone, tone, color plus white, color plus gray. Okay? All right. Let me get this little piece because I can't stand white. Here we go. I just don't like that showing. We need to make it a solid, okay? Now we're going to do shade. Now shade is a little tricky. Even though you know shade is added with black, we have to make sure how to add that black because this is the difficult one. Showing you my color palette. See the black? It looks really black. When you add a color, you only had to add a little tiny tip of the paintbrush. Needs to be in black. Okay? To make it a shade. All right? We do not need to add anything else. But the shade should be the darkest color of purple. Like on mine, it's purple, but on yours, it might be a different color. Say, for example, a shade of red would be burgundy. Burgundy has the black in it. This is black with a tiny bit because if you add too much black, it's going to be black because black is dominant. Okay? Black is dominant. So we need to add very little. I added a little tiny to the purple. Look how dark that is. Okay? It looks close to black. Okay? So you just keep that in mind. It needs to be darker than the tone, but lighter. Okay? And you'll lose your vibrancy of color too. So we want to make sure we keep the color. Okay? Because it still needs to be darker than your original color, but It doesn't need to be black, okay? All right, so let's get some painting done here. All right, this is going to be your toughest one. But if you don't get the color mix just right, give it a try again. That's what you're here for. You're here to try to get the blending down right. And that's what you're doing. Now, I want you to know, as you're doing this design, this is going to make up a holistic design. What do I mean by holistic? Well, when you put each other's together, it's going to create a pattern overall. Now, I'm going to put a little challenge in here. I hope that somebody will do the challenge. Don't know if you will. But this original project is broken down into small square like this. I got one more shading to do. I got one right over here. So we're going to paint that in there too. So I'll get it all done for you here. So you know your tint, tone, and shade. It's going to take some practice, okay? But you get it down. If you want to recolor it over again, totally fine. But it should be, I expect great craftsmanship in getting the colors down nicely and getting your colors mixed properly for tint, tone, and shade. Okay, that's an example of tint, tone, and shade in different shades of purple. I don't know if the camera's picking it up as beautiful as the colors really are, but that is tint, tone, and shade. And so within this whole project, you will see I've got a challenge on here. This is what the overall design is. If you look at this here, this is what you started out with, okay? You started out with that design, okay? Now, if you look at this, see that where it's in the black right here? That's this right here, what you're doing. So, but if you want a challenge where you want to draw it all together to make the star in the center, I can show you how to do that. And that's counter change design. And the way that we can do it is we can do it flip it over, or you can do it simply by making a big cross through this square like you did, only you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. Put a big cross in there, and you do your diamond shapes in each square. See the diamond shapes in each square? Some of you will see it right here in the black. There's your diamond shape. And every square has an alternating diamond shape. Here's one down here, alternating diamond shape, okay? And then the same lines were erased in each one, and when they converge together, they create a star. And then you can paint it, okay? Paint it like this. That would be the original shape, and it would come out fantastic, just like you see in Schoology. Take a look at that in Schoology because it's really cool. But right now, I want you to do this one, which is an enlargement of this one square in that black, okay? It's an enlargement of that one, okay? We'll put these all together. They'll look great. And that is your Color Theory 1 project. You are completed.